Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Just wait a few more minutes or seconds for everybody to pop in. Hi, how are you? Hi. Okay, thank you so much for joining me on a Friday. Hi, Latricia. Hi. Yeah, good night. What time is it over there, Marlene? I don't figure it's nighttime yet, but it's pretty much, it's 7:30 here. Hey, thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so we're just gonna wait a few more seconds for everybody to pop in and we're going to get started. For anybody, thank you so much for the replay viewers. I feel like replay viewers sometimes don't get enough love, so thank you so much for catching me on the replay. Make sure to share and give me some hearts. I love the hearts. And yeah, so I think we're just gonna get started. Today's scope is not that long, but it is very important, especially if you haven't gone to a designer yet, like myself or Latricia. And hi, Ebony. So yeah, so we're gonna get started. And oh, before we get started, let's talk about the prize. So the prize for today, or for the entire week, is a value of $197. It's my Sparkle Intensive, and what it is, it's 90 minutes with me, and you can also split that up. A lot of people seem to like to split that up into two and almost like get homework and then get a review after the homework. So it's really up to you. But what you do is you tap on the hearts, and the person who has the most hearts throughout the week gets the prize. So it's a $197 value. That's the regular price, and the way you get it is just by tapping and giving hearts. So it looks like we have a couple people in here, so let's just get started. My name is Yasmin. It's been a long week. So my name is Yasmin. I am a brand stylist and website graphic designer. I pretty much glitter bomb your brand, make it look professional, sparkly, amazing, so that your target audience, your dream clients, everybody who you want to work with wants to work with you just because of your visuals. And I also give you self-confidence to promote yourself, because if your website sucks, you don't want to promote it. So let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about brand visuals and how to really get started. So let's say that you are new to the business world and everything, and you haven't gone to a designer yet, but you really want to start creating that branded feel. And this is, if you follow these steps and you do all of this work, you're going to have a good base, so that when you do start to create visuals on Canva, or let's say you do go to a designer, you have a better idea of what your brand should look like. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to get on Pinterest. And I know that some people they might be against Pinterest, or might have a Pinterest and they never actually use it. So what you can do on Pinterest, even if you don't pin anything else, and you can even make the board private. So create a board, at least one board, and start pinning things that really resonate with you and that you feel resonate with your business. Let's say that you are a business coach and you're pinning a lot of images that seem to have the color yellow in them. And so you're going to be able to see that after a while. You keep pinning things, after a while you're going to see that consistency start coming through in that board. Typically, I tell clients to actually have 3 boards. One for colors, so you go in and look at mood boards, look at photographs, look at anything like that, and start pinning photographs that you like because of the color. Then start searching on Pinterest for logos or icons, anything such as logos. Logo is a good word to search in Pinterest. And you start pinning that, and that board will start showing you what types of logos you actually gravitate towards, and what types, and it'll give you an idea, a better idea of what type of logo you should have. So for example, if you end up after a month of pinning logos or pinning graphics and visuals like that, you end up with a lot of florals. You might end up with a flower, some sort of greenery, something like that in your logo, in your branding, because that's something that you gravitate towards. And the final board is fonts or just general website screenshots. This third board really is for you to kind of like the miscellaneous. So you can pin website screenshots that you see on Pinterest. Sometimes they have like the entire page. Sometimes it's just like those superimposed on a laptop or something, or a screen. You can also pin anything, any fonts that you seem to like. This will be like the catch-all so that you can really start seeing the similarities of everything. If you guys have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments below. So you have these boards, right? You start creating boards. Some of my clients have created 5, others have just had 1. What do you do with all of these boards? So typically, my clients have had these boards for a while, maybe about a month. If we just started working together and they didn't have something, it'll be about a week that I ask you to pin things to the boards just to get a better idea of what it is that you need. And we're gonna go through and start weeding things out. So what I want you to do when you're creating these boards is not really think about why it is that you like the image, or what it is about the logo that you really enjoyed, what it is about that screenshot of a website that seems to just jive with you. Instead, just put it in there. Then go back when you're ready, go back and start weeding it out. So for example, if you have a board just for color, go through and see what the biggest percentage of color is. So let's say you have turquoise and purples and pinks, but then you realize that you have maybe 60% pink, and then everything else is split into different colors. You can start unpinning those other colors, and that way all of the pink is left over, all of the pink colors are available for you to start really choosing from and looking at, and that way it'll be closer to your brand color. I'm not saying that a specific pink is going to be that color, but it gives the designer a better idea of where you are heading. Thank you so much for the hearts. So after that, you can actually create your own mood board. And this can be done on Canva, and mood boards are awesome. I know Letitia, I think on Instagram, or was it Facebook, she's been putting stuff up about mood boards, and these are really fun. Don't feel like it's a heavy burden, a mood board. It should be fun, you know, and you can do multiples. You can do a bunch of, you can do a bunch of different ones and then see which one really resonates with you. The best thing to do is go on Canva, because you can drag and drop the images. It should be super fun. Yeah, it should be super fun. And if you are having your designer do it for you, they might actually, usually I create really quick ones and say, okay, these are the different boards and which one resonates with you more, because it helps to see the color palettes and everything together. But anyway, if you're doing it yourself, go on Canva. It's the easiest way to do one. They have the setup, I forget what it's called, but they have those templates, right? And you can use those templates and just start dragging and dropping images into Canva, and then start placing images, and then crop them to where you like. So for example, if you have an image that you found that you really like, maybe the top right corner, but everything else is not needed, then you can definitely just crop to it, and because it's what is important, right? It's what really resonates with you. It's not really the entire image. So you can create your own and then start thinking and playing around with the colors. So let's say your first board is all purple and different shades of purple, and then maybe you find that a nice turquoise or some other color really works well with that as a detail item, and then start jotting all of this information down or place that color into Canva. You can also, for color schemes, you can Google just like Adobe, or not Adobe, but you can Google, what is it? Color combinations and stuff like that. So there's different ones. I know in the workbook I give a list of links. My favorite one to use is I Google Adobe colors, and it usually pops up where it's like this color picker. Oh, that's what it is. You Google color picker, and I like the Adobe one. And what you do is you pick the one color, and then you can move things around, and it'll give you the color codes. Yeah, color.adobe.com. Thank you. It'll give you the color codes that you need, and that way you can start popping them into Canva. For example, I don't know my color code off the top of my head, but I have it jotted down in my little notepad on my laptop. And so whenever I'm doing something on Canva, I just go back, copy and paste my color code and put it on Canva, and that way all of my colors, my pink is always the same exact pink, right? So go back to your mood boards that you created, pick out a color that you really like. Maybe it's a deep shade of purple. That seems to be really popular, so like a deep plum, almost slightly bluish purple. And then go back on that Adobe color picker and then really pick that specific purple, jot down the color code, and then make that your brand color. So now you've got images that really resonate with you on Pinterest. You've got a few mood boards, and you finally have chosen one, hopefully. And you've got one brand color. Hold on, my notes just logged me out. Thank you so much for the hearts, by the way. I really appreciate it. So you've got your color, and now you need to choose a font, right? So when you're choosing a font, I always tell people choose one personality font, right? Make it you can go on Canva as well and you start playing around with the fonts. This font is really fun. It's going to be you, and it's going to be special. It's going to really, it might be super feminine. It might be bold and big. And so you really need to just pick out I call it a personality font. Some other people might call it a special font or a brand font, but it's the one font that you are always going to use. It's going to be you, right? It's going to resonate with you. And Canva is perfect because you can just type something in and start changing everything, all of the fonts. And Canva uses fonts that are similar to the Google, or are the same as the Google fonts. So you can also eventually download them from Google and upload them to your website. So choose one personality font. Don't go crazy, just choose one, okay? Because if you start choosing maybe a script font and then a different really bold crayon type of font and all of these other fonts, your brand it's not gonna look consistent. So choose one personality font. So you got one color, one main color, one personality font, and then the other font, it's a secondary font. It's gonna be simple, right? Whether it's, I always find it hard to choose a personality font and then end up changing it. Okay, yes, so this is why you have to play around with it a little bit and see which one. What I do with clients, so what I do is I get a list. So let's say they are super feminine, they like the really script type of fonts. I get a giant list of all of the fonts that I can find that are script, and I either write out their name or write out a sentence or whatever it is, just to represent the letters. Or usually it's like their name or the company name, and I do multiple copies of that name, and I put all of the script fonts there. And so I put that away, I print it out if it's a local client, or I save it and I put it away, and then I come back to it and I start deleting the next day. I start deleting fonts that just do not really work well. A way to choose is if it's too thin, and let's say you make it really small, make the font really small, and you can't read it, it's not readable. Yeah. If it's not readable, then it automatically goes away. That usually happens with the really thin fonts. If it's scripty, it's like a really nice script font, make it really small as it would possibly be, for example, on a business card. And then if you can't read it, get rid of it, right? So now usually the list has from 20 has gone down to about 10. And then those 10, I usually present to the client and see which one, have them pick at least 5. Out of those 5 scripty fonts, then that's where I start playing around with it, the positioning, the spacing, and all of that. And perhaps let's say it's ebony cross coaching, right? Ebony cross and then coaching on the bottom. then usually the coaching will be a plain font, not like plain Jane, but a font that is not, let's say Ebony Cross is in script, then on the bottom it'll be coaching and like a Helvetica or Times News Roman, something that is simple, it's easy to find, Arial, something that will be easy to read, but it can be shrunken down and it won't end up disappearing because it's so thin or anything like that. And it won't be, so that the attention will be on Ebony Cross, not on coaching, because you are branding you're not branding the word coaching, right? So that's where the two fonts come in. So you have the one personality font, and then you have the bottom font, which is typically, I like Helvetica New. A lot of people have different, designers have different favorite fonts. And what I do with those, let's say you have 5 of those very nice scripty fonts, so I play around with them and put coaching underneath, and then I present that to you as to the client. And then this, you can also do this yourself, and you can do this yourself on Canva as well. And then usually I tell the client, okay, look at them, take about 24 hours, and then get back to me on which one really resonates with you the most. And usually that's the one that ends up being the personality font, right? And it's still, you know, it goes through versions where I have to make things smaller, larger, space things out, reduce the spacing in between the letters, all of that. But you still have your two fonts, your personality font and then your regular font. It's important that you write down the names of these fonts. So right now, let's say, just to recap real quick, you have your mood board, you have your Pinterest boards that you can always go back to, just to make sure that you're on brand and that you know, it's your kind of your inspiration center. You have your mood boards, which is, and then you have your one chosen board. Let's say you chose purple, and you have different shades of purple, and you have that mood board. You have written down, you have gone to these color picker sites, and you have written down your color codes. Make sure you write down CMYK, because that's what your printer is going to ask, and then write down, it's called a hex code. And it's like a hashtag and then 6 numbers, and that's what you're going to insert into Canva when you're creating, when you're trying to pick out your color, your brand color. That way it's always consistent. And then you have your two fonts, and the way you're going to use your fonts, let's say you're trying to create your own website, if you're trying to create a post for Facebook or something on Canva, your personality font will be the headline, right? And your regular font will be everything else. Do not overuse your personality font. It should just be the thing that grabs the attention, right? If this is resonating with you, give me some hearts. The rest of everything else has to be that nice readable font that is the regular font. I know it's not super fancy. It could just be Arial or Helvetica or maybe even Times News Roman or something like that, but it's easy to read. It can get really small, it can get really large, and it's what's going to get the main idea across. The other font, the headline, can be your personality font, and it's what's going to set the tone. It's going to say, hey, this is Latricia, this is Ebony, this is, you know, it's going to be a recognizable font that's you're always going to use for your headlines. And then, so you're going to have all of this stuff. You have your two fonts, your colors, all of this. This is a great base to get started on your branding. You have it, once you approach a designer, you can approach them with this, say, this is what I've been doing, this is what I've been using, and then you can decide on whether or not to continue using those colors and fonts and all of that. But if you are trying to do this yourself, and I want you to understand, even if you do go to a designer, I want you to understand the process so that you can be involved and you can understand how it is that you can keep a brand consistent. So just to recap, you're gonna go on Pinterest. You're gonna create at least one board, if not, you know, as many as you're comfortable with. You can make them private or not private, and then choose one board. If you're gonna do multiple boards, choose one for each thing. So for example, one board will help you choose your colors. Another board will be a bunch of fonts that you found that you really like. Another board could be screenshots of websites that you can find on Pinterest that show the entire website top to bottom, and you can say, oh, I really like this because of the nature scenes that it uses or whatnot. So you're gonna have you can have different boards, or you can have one board for everything. You're going to then go on, you can then whittle down. So after a week of putting everything on Pinterest, you can go back and weed out the things that don't make sense anymore. For example, if your brand is going to be mustard type of yellow, and you see a lot of green in your boards, and you don't really resonate with the green as much as with the mustard yellow, then you can just take those out of Pinterest. Then you're going to go into Canva or PicMonkey or whatever way you choose, and you're going to start creating a mood board using one of the their templates that they have. You can choose whatever template they have, and just start popping in images. Crop the image to the area that you really like. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be professional. This is why I tell you to do everything online, whether it's on Pinterest or on Canva, because it can be changed. Back in the day, the mood board used to be, even in large corporate places, the mood boards are sometimes on cork boards, and back in the day we used to, in school, we used to make mood boards and actually paste things onto a board, like a literal board, and it was very hard to change. So this is why I love digital, because you can just put it in there, save it, and start a new one if that doesn't resonate with you. Then you're gonna choose one color, right? Just look at the board that really resonates with you. Say, okay, it has a lot of, for example, a deep green, and so you're going to go on Canva, or you're going to go on color picker, and you're going to start looking at all of the greens, and then on the color picker you can choose whether you want the accent color to be an opposite, or what we call a triad, whatever it is. It'll tell you, or just shades of green, and it'll show you your primary color, so your number one color, and then the other colors that you could use with that would look well. In a side note about the color, you're going to want to make sure that your brand color is only used about 20% of the time in your branding. This is because people so for example, let's say I have green in my color scheme. People tend to think that their brand color means that it should be everywhere. And the way you should think of this is as a highlighter. Let's say you are highlighting things, the important stuff on your website. If everything is a highlighted, a green, then nothing is actually resonating. Nothing is actually popping off the page. But if you decide, okay, only my headlines and my calls to action will be green, then that is what people will see right when they land on your site. They will know that your brand color is green, because everything else is going to be either black and white or whatever other color it is, and the green is going to pop, especially your calls to action and your headlines, right? You want to make those pop to people, and the way to do that is to keep everything else neutral, black and white, or just faded in, any color that is not popping out. Usually it's black and white. And then your pop of color, your green, mine is pink, whatever it is, make sure that you do not overuse your brand color. Then you're going to have the two fonts, and I already explained how to use that. Your personality font should be about 20% of the time, and your regular font about 80% of the time. These are just about estimated ratios. Just don't overuse your personality font. If you find that your personality font, maybe it's a really nice script and it looks really bad when it's shrunken down, like you can't even read it, then just either change it or have a backup, a default, a backup font that you can use when it gets really small, or just use the plain font, right? And my laptop keeps logging me out. Does that apply when marketing on Facebook? Yes. So what I like, let me just log back in, because I have a special promo, so I need to have my notes up. Okay, so on Facebook, let's say you are creating a cute image to go with your post, and it's going to have writing on it. And let's say your photo is off to one side, and off to the other side is going to be a headline and a promotion and then a call to action. Your image is going to be there because, people like seeing other people's faces. Then your other color, what I typically do, since my brand color is pink, I have a block of pink, and then everything else, all the other text is in white. The other thing that you can do is just have the block in white and have your headline in pink, and your call to action in pink, and everything else just black and white. You know, just keep it simple. Let's say that you have a really nice way to also do Facebook post images is to have your image but overlay, and this can all be done on Canva, which is awesome. I really recommend Canva. You can upload your image and then put an overlay, or how would you say it in regular, put a box over it so that it covers your entire image, and then lower the opacity or the transparency, I think Canva calls it transparency, of the box, and then change the color of the box. You can make it a color or you can just make it black, but it's just to darken the image, and then overlay your text on it. Headline, let's say your headline is a question, let's say you're saying Happy Friday, right? So Happy Friday will be in your personality font, and then whatever, like that little, whatever secondary thing you're trying to say will be in regular Helvetica or Arial or whatever it is that is your regular font. And then the call to action, let's say you notice that the call to action gets really small, like maybe it's sign up for a strategy call or whatever your call to action is. It's really small, and your personality font is when you shrink it that small, it's not readable, it's not easy to read. So you can just keep it at Helvetica. The point is not to overuse it. So when you're creating something, personally when I'm creating something, I try to remember to squint my eyes. And so you squint your eyes, and if everything kind of meshes together and you still can't tell that it says Happy Friday, then you should either make it bigger or you should change the font. Canva also lets you open up the spacing in between letters. This is a really good tip for if you're creating some stuff. You can always just widen the space a little bit between the letters. Like, for example, if you have Ebony Cross and then coaching, or let's say you have Ebony Cross and then strategy session underneath your name. On the strategy session, if it's like in Helvetica or whatever it is, open up the space a little more. It makes it readable, and it gives it almost like that, almost like you thought about it, like you thought about the spacing between the letters, and like it's professional because designers do it. And that's a little trick that I do sometimes, just to space things out, because if they're too squished in, it's harder to read, especially when it gets small. So if your font is really small, just space it out a little bit. Another thing to keep in mind is that Canva tends to how to space it out. So on Canva, there's a thing, I can probably show you. So let me figure out how to show you. So this is my Canva, and let's just go in here. So, okay, so it says join today, 5-day scope challenge. And so this is my brand font. So the main thing here is my brand font is Playfair Display. And so everything that's like the important stuff is going to be in that type of font. And then let's say I wanted to, the join today could probably be smaller, and I could probably use something else instead of join today. Let's say it was that small. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me see is that better? Let me know if that's better. So let's see. Yeah, guys, let me know if that's better if you can see it. It looks weird on my screen. But okay, so the join today is just the regular. I don't think I even touch the spacing in between the letters. So what designers typically do, and what I do, I have a 9 to 5, and this is what we do. This is what we do. We go here in a text space. So what I did was I clicked on it. I went to this little arrow. I dropped down text spacing. And then all you do really is letter spacing, and you open it up a little bit. And so it just opened up the words a little bit, right? Then another thing that you can always think about when you're creating these Facebook posts is, for example, this 5-day branding challenge, it's 2 lines. And what we also do, designers do at work, is a line height. You can increase it or you can decrease it. I find that I typically decrease it on almost like the regular one is too open, too spaced out. And so I usually decrease it unless it's something where it needed more space. It depends also on the font that you're using. So if you're using a font like this number 5, it comes down a bit more. So that if it came down too much more, then I would probably not decrease the space. Is that making sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions or about Canva? Yeah, no problem, Brenda. Well, I think that was it. Let me go back to my notes. Okay. Maybe I should do some Canva stuff. I don't know. You guys tell me if I should do some quickie Canva videos for you guys. So I think I went through everything. You're so smart. Oh, I know. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's practice, and it's a lot of hitting my mouse and going, why isn't this working? But anyway, thank you so much then. Okay, so I think I covered everything, brand colors, all of that. So if you joined in late, just make sure you watch the replay. And here is, so since you guys stayed with me for so long, here is my special for you. And it's also going to go out to the emails to everybody. So in case you don't catch it. So I'm going to give you, okay, so the winner of the challenge, really the person who gave the most hearts over the 5 days, is going to get a free brand strategy session. We go over everything, your branding, your website, all of that. And I have to tally up all of the hearts that I've gotten and the shares and stuff like that. But that person is going to get 90 minutes with me. They get to choose whether they want to split it into 2 sessions, so 2 45-minute sessions, and get like homework in between and then get it reviewed later. Or that we can do straight on 90 minutes of hardcore branding and website auditing and all of that. But I wanted to also offer something to all of the other viewers as well. And so that special, that prize is $197. I want to also offer it to everyone else for $97. So that's $100 off. So you're saving, I just gifted you $100. And you're going to get the 90 minutes with me. You're going to get this pretty much it's a custom step-by-step plan for your branding. It's like it's custom to your business. We're going to go through everything from your website to your visuals to making sure all your links on your website work, that everything's organized, that your logo is actually representing the real you. That's a super deal. Yeah. Thank you so much, Brenda. We're going to really hone in. I'm going to ask you questions like, who is your target market? And we're going to just help you research everything. It's especially good for you if you want to split it into 2 sessions. Because I found that 90 minutes, I just had a call with a client yesterday, and we decided to just split it because she felt like she had to do some work and then needed me to come back and kind of review everything and then give the next steps. So it's really, really good if you are trying to do it yourself. You know, you're starting out, you're trying to do everything yourself, and you're obviously busy with your clients, so you can't pay attention to too much of your own branding. And that's where I come in. It's kind of like having a creative director in your back pocket, or, you know, just pull me out when you need your brand assessed and your visuals assessed, and I'm here for you. So, you know, if you're tired of being ignored or just looking like you just started out, maybe it's a hobby, not a business, and you really want a kick-ass business that will not just look amazing, but that your clients will really gravitate towards, then this is perfect for you. It's $97. You can get it now. And then schedule, let's say, a month in advance. The client that I talked to yesterday, she scheduled it out a couple weeks in advance, so that she could work on her site, and then I could audit that. So yeah, so it's $97, and the way you can get it is by going here And this is just going to link to my calendar. You're going to just set up the appointment and I'll get back to you on everything else. So if you guys are interested, and have questions about it, feel free to reply to the emails that you got. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, anything else, and or shoot me an email. And if you guys want free resources, so I do have a few freebies for you guys if you are not sure on whether you need, you know, some brand help. What you can do is go to my site. Let me show you. So on RoblesDesigns, ROBLES designs.com/resources, or you can just go to the homepage, go to resources, and there's a couple of freebies for you guys. To get, you know, the brand quiz is actually people's favorite. They take a quiz to see what your branding should be, and then you can download these free brand guides that are kind of pre-done. So they kind of already went through everything that that I just talked about in the 5 days, and you get a few images, you get stuff that's, you know, colors and fonts that you can use. That's it, and thank you so much for, I guess if nobody has any questions, make sure if you have questions you can always type them in. That's why I love Periscope, because it's so casual. It's almost like I'm right in your living room, which would be creepy. So if nobody has any more questions, thank you so much for joining me these past few days. I will be also sending out a survey along with the announcement of the winner, and you can get something special with the survey when you complete the survey. Again, here is the link to getting the awesome promo. It's $100 off, and it's only good until Sunday night. So get on it, or email me if you have any questions. Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you so much for being with me. I really do appreciate you guys being with me. And have a great night, a great Friday, party and relax, and have a great weekend. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. You were here like all of 5 days, I think. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Ebony. I really appreciate it. And everybody have a great weekend. And I send you so much love and good luck on your business and every venture that you have. All right, bye-bye.